Imagine a massive warship, bigger than most airports' runways, slowly sliding into the waters of Shanghai. Tugboats nudge it forward, and on its flight deck sits something strange, a fully covered aircraft, hidden beneath a protective tarp. It doesn't look like any normal helicopter or transport plane. It's sleek, mysterious, and clearly out of place on a ship designed for landing troops and tanks on a hostile shore. This is China's Type 076 landing helicopter dock, and the date is January 31st, 2026. For military observers around the world, this image immediately raises a question. Why is China putting a stealth drone on an amphibious assault ship? Traditionally, these ships carried helicopters or short takeoff aircraft, but this looks like something entirely new. Think of it like seeing a Formula One car being loaded onto a giant cargo ship. It doesn't belong there, yet its presence hints at a major shift in purpose. The question isn't just what this drone is, but what it represents. A bold signal of how China plans to operate in future naval conflicts. Is this amphibious ship becoming something more, maybe a hybrid between a traditional assault vessel and a small aircraft carrier? This opening moment isn't just about a ship or a drone. It's about the beginning of a story that could reshape the rules of naval warfare. And as we dive deeper, we'll see why this single, covered aircraft could be the first glimpse into a future where unmanned systems lead the charge at sea. To understand why this covered drone matters, we need to step back and look at the ship carrying it, the Type 076. At first glance, it might seem like just a bigger version of China's previous amphibious assault ships, like the Type 075, but the difference is much deeper than size. The Type 075 was impressive, a modern helicopter carrier designed to land troops, vehicles, and supplies on hostile shores. But the Type 076 takes that concept further, almost like upgrading a sports car into a hybrid between a sports car and a small fighter jet. It's still an amphibious assault ship, but now it has the potential to launch fixed-wing aircraft using an electromagnetic catapult, a technology known as EMALS. EMALS isn't new in the world of warships. It's what powers China's full-sized carrier Fujian to launch heavier planes quickly and safely. But putting this on an amphibious ship is revolutionary. It means the Type 076 can operate aircraft with the speed, precision, and flexibility once reserved for supercarriers. Suddenly, a ship designed to put tanks on the beach could also act like a light aircraft carrier, extending China's reach farther from shore. Think of it like a Swiss Army knife of warships, one vessel that can land troops, carry helicopters, and now potentially operate stealthy combat drones. This ship isn't just bigger, it's a doctrinal leap, signaling a shift in how China intends to project power at sea. And that brings us to the aircraft itself, the mysterious drone sitting under the cover on its deck. Now, let's focus on that mysterious aircraft hiding under the cover on the Type 076's flight deck. Military analysts believe it's the GJ21, a navalized version of China's stealth GJ11 Sharp Sword UCAV. UCAV stands for Unmanned Combat Aerial Vehicle, basically a fighter jet without a pilot on board. Imagine a drone the size of a small fighter jet, capable of both spying on the enemy and striking targets with precision weapons. What makes the GJ21 special isn't just that it's unmanned. It's designed to take off and land on a ship, even in rough seas, thanks to features like strengthened landing gear, corrosion protection, and a tailhook for arrested landings. And with the Type 076 electromagnetic catapult, it could launch quickly and efficiently, just like planes on a full-sized carrier. Strategically, this is a game changer. Normally, amphibious assault ships rely on helicopters for reconnaissance or air support, but helicopters have limited range and payload. The GJ21 could stay in the air much longer, scout far beyond the shoreline, and even strike high-value targets, all without risking pilots. In a way, it's like having a stealthy scout and sniper combined, giving the ship eyes and teeth far beyond its own hull. In short, the Type 076 plus the GJ21 isn't just a bigger ship with a fancy drone. It's a completely new way to think about amphibious warfare, combining landing operations with persistent, unmanned strike power. At first glance, you might wonder, is this drone even capable of flying yet? The truth is, it might not be. But in the world of Chinese naval development, that doesn't make its presence any less important. The aircraft on deck could very well be a full-scale mock-up, a life-size stand-in used to practice operations before committing to a real flying prototype. China has a long history of using these mock-ups to train crews, refine procedures, and test logistics. Think of it like a flight simulator, except it's the size of a small aircraft carrier. Sailors and pilots can practice everything from launching and recovering drones to refueling, storage, and deck choreography, all without risking a $1 million prototype. Even entire decks have been recreated in this way to fine-tune operations before systems go live. The presence of this mock-up sends a strong message. The PLA Navy is already preparing for operational drone flights, even if the aircraft itself isn't ready to take off. It's a signal of intent, a clear step toward integrating unmanned systems into frontline naval operations. In other words, the story isn't about whether the drone can fly today. It's about what the ship and crew are learning right now to make unmanned aviation a reality at sea. This understanding sets the stage for the next part, how this combination of Type 076 and GJ21 could transform real-world amphibious assaults. Now we get to why this matters in the real world. Traditionally, amphibious assault ships like the Type 075 were limited to helicopters or short-range aircraft. They could support troops landing on a beach, but their eyes and firepower were limited. The Type 076, combined with the GJ21, changes that completely. Imagine a scenario near Taiwan's eastern coastline, where rough seas make civilian transport ships unreliable. The Type 076 could operate much closer to the shoreline, using its drones to scout enemy defenses like artillery, armored formations, or air defense positions. The GJ21 could then strike high-value targets in real time, softening defenses before human troops even touch the beach, all without putting pilots at risk. This isn't just a minor upgrade. It blurs the line between an assault ship and a light carrier, turning a ship meant for landing tanks and helicopters into a multi-role platform capable of surveillance, reconnaissance, and precision strikes. It's like giving an Army scout car the firepower of a tank. Suddenly, what was once a support role becomes a frontline game changer. The combination of Type 076 and GJ21 could fundamentally alter amphibious operations, making them faster, smarter, and safer. And this shift naturally leads to the next question. How does this capability fit into the broader PLA Navy ecosystem? The Type 076 and GJ21 aren't just about landing troops on a beach. They're also about extending the PLA Navy's eyes and reach across the seas. Think of the ship as a mobile drone hub. Even a small number of GJ21s could provide persistent surveillance, targeting information, and strike capability for the Chinese carrier fleet, including the Liaoning, Shandong, and Fujian, as well as forward-deployed surface combatants. This capability lets the PLA Navy test and refine unmanned operations on a smaller, lower-risk platform before introducing them on full-sized carriers. The Type 076 becomes a proving ground. Crews can work out command and control systems, practice integrating drones with manned aircraft, and develop operational procedures. Essentially, it's like training on a pilot simulator before flying a real fighter jet, but at sea. In practice, this means drones launched from the Type 076 could feed intelligence to the entire task force, spotting threats before humans even know they exist. It also allows for coordinated operations across multiple platforms, creating a web of surveillance and strike power that's flexible and scalable. By doing this on the Type 076 first, the PLA Navy can reduce risks and accelerate innovation, preparing for a future where unmanned systems are a core part of fleet operations. One of the most interesting things about China's military modernization is how incremental and strategic it often is. Rather than unveiling new weapons and ships all at once, the PLA tends to reveal small, deliberate clues over time, building a picture of capabilities only when systems are close to operational readiness. The covered UCAV on the Type 076's deck fits perfectly into this pattern. Even if it's not yet flying, its presence sends a clear signal of a doctrinal shift. Drones are not just auxiliary tools, they are becoming central to China's naval strategy. By introducing them gradually, the PLA can train crews, refine tactics, and integrate new technologies without exposing weaknesses to potential adversaries. Think of it like watching a puzzle come together piece by piece. Each test flight, mock-up, or sea trial adds another layer, slowly revealing how amphibious ships, drones, and carriers will operate together in a networked, high-tech naval ecosystem. When the final pieces fall into place, observers won't just see a new aircraft or a bigger ship, they'll see a completely new way of projecting power at sea. This deliberate approach sets the stage for the final section, where we'll pull all of these developments together and ask, what does this mean for the future of naval warfare? As the Type EO-76 prepares for its next round of sea trials, the world is watching closely. That covered aircraft on its deck isn't just a mystery. It's a signal of a future where amphibious assault ships are no longer limited to helicopters. Instead, they could serve as launch platforms for stealthy, unmanned combat systems capable of surveillance, strikes, and force projection far from shore. If the GJ21 proves operational, it could mark the first time a ship of this type is designed from the ground up to operate fixed-wing drones, opening a new chapter in naval warfare. Imagine amphibious ships acting not only as landing platforms, but also as eyes and teeth of an entire fleet, striking with precision while manned aircraft stay out of harm's way. The broader lesson is clear. Unmanned systems are moving from supporting roles to core elements of naval power. When the covers finally come off that mysterious drone, we may witness the beginning of a new era where high-tech, stealthy drones lead the charge in naval operations. Stay tuned, because this evolution is just getting started. Follow for updates and deep-dive analysis as China continues to test the boundaries of naval warfare. A future where the line between carriers, assault ships, and unmanned drones is blurring faster than ever.